I'm doing today. Welcome back to On the Ball. Welcome back to another review of the Premier League as me and my brother do go head to head in predicting every single Premier League outcome. Only 1 point in it going into the second half of the season, 198 to 199 in my favour. 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result, and a star man. Once you pick that man, you cannot pick them again for the rest of the season. 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. Let's get into the weekend's action. Apparently, we didn't do too well this week.
Midweek's action.
Sorry, Sim. Very pedantic over there.
It was bonkers midweek.
Yeah, it was. It really was. Starting off with a massive game down at the bottom. West Ham 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Both of us went for 1-1. Nearly a 5-pointer for both of us. But yeah, all you need to do was see the look on Nuno's face, and it actually broke my heart a little bit. You know,
You felt bad for him, did you?
I did feel bad for him because first half I thought West Ham were probably slightly the better team. Pretty much an even game. West Ham take the lead, but when the second half came, I thought West Ham was shocking, man. And I thought Forest obviously got the 2 goals, and I thought they were good value for it. I thought Forest were the better team by the end of it.
Did you? I mean, I thought 2-0. I mean, it could have been 2-0 with that offside goal. That would have been a massive difference, wouldn't it? What did you think of that decision? Because I think that's not offside. For me, Milenkovic makes the tackle. It's a deliberate play to play the ball. It then falls to a West Ham player. Somerville's trying to take a pass Milenkovic. He puts his foot in front of him and tackles him. So why is that not a deliberate play? Why is that called offside if that then falls to a West Ham player who was in an offside position? I thought it was a very odd decision in my opinion. I think that's onside. I think that's a poor decision by VAR. And at 2-0, I think West Ham go on and win that game. And then literally a couple minutes later,
The penalty,
no, it was Forest equalised.
Oh, they equalised in the penalty, yeah.
The penalty layer. And also, was that a penalty? I don't know, because I think it's one of those where if I don't know who got punched in the face, but of Gibbs White, if he's like going to get the ball, then Areola wipes him out, then I think, okay, it's fair. But the ball had already been cleared. And he's going to obviously try and punch the ball. Souček gets there in front of him. And because Souček gets in front of him, he's obviously punching no one, and he ends up catching Gibbs White. But the ball had been clear. It wasn't going to Gibbs White, so it wasn't like he impeded him. I think that's a dodgy decision.
Yeah, look, I think you've seen them given both ways.
But it was given by VAR. That's my problem.
Yeah.
Why is VAR intervening?
Forget VAR for a second, but just objectively, do you think it's a penalty or not?
No.
I don't know. Like, he comes out and completely flattens Gibbs White. Like, completely flattens him.
I understand that, but that's just like a coming together, in my opinion. You see comings together, not all comings together are fouls.
I think in the past you've seen them given, you've seen them not. It's one of those kind of grey area ones, isn't it?
Depends on the situation. I agree with you. They have been given, they have been not. I remember there was a big one with Onana a couple of years ago where it wasn't given, and that was a clear one. But that's because the Wolves player was literally getting the ball, and he wipes him out when he's about to get the ball. The ball was cleared this time. Gibbs White was nowhere near it. So for me, I don't think VAR should be getting involved. I don't think that's a penalty. I think West Ham be hard done by on 2 decisions there. So I think I feel bad for them.
I think regardless what you thought of those 2 decisions, I just felt like West Ham were waiting to die a little bit in that second half. And, you know, I thought if anyone was going to score, it was Nottingham Forest. And they got their luck at the end of the day with the decisions. And, yeah, look, both of them had a bit of slice of luck. I can understand why the penalty was given. But, yeah, I mean, it's all on the way. Look, the way Nuno was reacting, you could see he definitely felt like, oh, my God, it's just everything going against us right now. And before the penalty, or as the penalty was being given, he just looked like a dead man, didn't he?
Defeated man, and leaves him 7 points clear of the.
He's still in the job, isn't he? Because everyone's saying he's going to get sacked, but he hasn't been sacked as of yet.
They were hoping for the Farke kind of bounce with saying, "Oh, he's going to get sacked if he loses this," but maybe it was a bluff. But I don't know. But he's still in the job. For me, I don't really think they have an option here but to stick with him, because who are they supposed to get? They're talking about Bilic coming in. Who's going to give him a better chance to stay out, Bilic or Nuno?
Harry's put himself in.
Harry's put himself in the conversation. Let's be honest, Harry ain't keeping him up. Like, their best shot is Nuno.
You never know. Harry might keep him up.
Nah, no chance.
A bit of attacking football.
Football's moved on from him. He hasn't managed since 2015.
Since QPR, I think it was.
In the top level, anyway. I know he was manager of India or something for a bit. But
Jordan.
Was it Jordan? That was it. Look, you have to stick with Nuno right now. You've already sacked one manager to bring him in. I know his record's awful, but again, when you've made that decision, I think you have to stick with it. I think he's your best bet. And you know what? Even if they do go down, he's your best bet to come back up. as well.
Maybe. I mean, look, I think if they go down, they could get one of these kind of young progressive managers trying to make their name, like you've seen many a time. These kind of managers come, romping the championship. It depends as well how many players they keep, because they got a number of players there in their squad that if they go down, surely are gonna, be the first ones to go out the door. So I fear for West Ham if they go down, because I don't know if they do come straight back up with the amount of players that might want to leave.
If they stick with Nuno, I think they probably do. I think he probably gets them back up. He's got experience in the Championship. I think they have to stick with him. I think it would be stupid to sack him, albeit if you need a Hail Mary because the results are going so badly, then maybe change it. But I don't think a change of manager helps in this situation, in my opinion. They've already done it and it hasn't helped.
Yeah, but it also could be a case that if you stick with it, it doesn't help either.
Yeah, but I just think it makes more sense to me to stick with it.
Look at their last two results. They've lost to Nottingham Forest and they've lost to Wolves.
That's also true.
You know what I mean? Nottingham Forest were the ones closest to them. They needed to get something from this game, to give themselves a good chance. And they've given Wolves their first win of the season, 3-0 at Molineux.
That's true.
I don't think you'll find a manager that's had two worse results this season.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's obviously shocking. And they were shocking against Wolves. I didn't think they were that bad. I thought it was a very even game. I thought a draw was probably a fair result in this one, to be honest. But is what it is. I thought the decision probably was the fine margins in this one. But at the end of the day, 7 points. I don't know if they claw. I just can't see them clawing that back at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, whether they change or they don't, I don't see. Who are they clawing it back on?
Forest.
No, I know. But I don't see Forest dropping as more points than West Ham between now and the end of the season. Leeds have found a way of playing at the moment that's working for them. Apart from those two, no one else is going down. So I don't know. I don't see it at the moment. I think they're at risk of being cut adrift.
Well, what better way to spring themselves back into action with a game against Tottenham coming up next in the Premier League. So you never know what can happen. Still a long way to go. And I think West Ham got good enough players to go on a good run, but they need to go and do it. Like Forest as well, apart from this game, they've been losing every week as well. So I think it just takes for a good run, a couple of wins in a row, and you put yourselves back in the conversation, because everyone down there is just dropping points like it's nobody's business. But at this moment in time, you just can't see that happening.
But they don't have better players than Forest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, and then Leeds are just playing much better than them. So I think they probably do have a better squad than Leeds, but Leeds have this belief at the moment.
But what I'm saying about West Ham is they've got good enough players to be able to win games of football, and they're not doing that right now.
I agree with you, but the problem is they're 7 points adrift. And I don't see them winning more games than the teams above them at the moment.
Yeah. Look, it's not a good situation for West Ham. That's the honest truth. But
I do think he will get sacked though if this carries on. As much as I don't think it's right, if it carries on, they're going to panic and they will sack him.
But they got Tottenham, West Ham, Tottenham, Sunderland, Chelsea in their next three, and then they go to Burnley away. If they lose to Burnley, he might even be gone before the Burnley game, to be honest.
He could be. He must be on his last legs. There's reports saying the players don't believe in him anymore, this kind of stuff. When that happens, to be fair, it only goes one way. Yeah.
Burnley only a point behind them as well, which is crazy. But anyway, that's that one. Let's move on to Fulham against Chelsea. 2-1 to Fulham on the day. Both of us went for 1-1. The new manager, Liam Rossini, was in the stands. Probably didn't like what he was seeing, to be honest. I don't know when the last time Fulham beat Chelsea was, but it was massive for Fulham. They classify this as a massive derby. I'm not sure how big Chelsea classify it, but the stands were absolutely buzzing with this one for Fulham. But yeah, Fulham on a really good run, aren't they?
They're playing so well at the moment, and Harry Wilson. I know he's been getting a lot of praise from us, but he has just been phenomenal, especially in the last couple of months. He's really come into his own. Do you reckon he could go to a bigger team or a different team? Do you reckon people will be interested in him in the summer? Because he's got one of the best left foots in the league, I think. I know he scored with his right foot in this game, but he's got such a brilliant cultured left foot. He's got a brilliant strike on him. I've always felt like he's one of those players who can come up with a moment. Even when he was playing for Bournemouth and he was playing other clubs. Who else he played for? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
Liverpool.
I know Liverpool. Was it Liverpool then Bournemouth and then Fulham? But I remember he's always had that bit of magic in his boots, and he's again scoring. I think he's got 11 goal contributions out of his season. He's really come into his own, and for Wales as well, he's been playing very well. But yeah, another red card for Chelsea. Cucurella this time, the guilty one. What was that, a fifth red card of the season?
Yeah, fifth or sixth,
ridiculous. And And to be fair to Chelsea, they went 1-0 down, and then they did get back level with 10 men, and they did give up a good fight. But unfortunately, that extra man told in the end, and that Wilson goal was too much for them.
Yeah, Liam Delap scoring his first Premier League goal of the season. Much needed. They need their strikers to start kicking on. But look, it's a new regime now, new manager coming in. Whether you think he's qualified or not, it's going to be interesting watch, isn't it?
How do you think he'll do?
I'm not so sure. I think there might be an initial bounce, but in terms of the long term, I question it a little bit, because I just feel like the first sign of trouble, they'll probably sack him.
Yeah, for me, I don't see him doing better than Maresca. I think Maresca's probably a better manager. He's done great at Strasbourg, though, to be fair, and he does have like a quite an attacking style of play. So maybe he'll bring something different to Chelsea, but I don't think a different manager is what they needed. So again, it's quite similar to, in a different kind of context, but it's quite similar to like when Ange went into Forest, where it wasn't a situation where he was in there because the team was failing. He was in there for other reasons, and he went there to change things up when it didn't need a changing. And when that fails, you then go back to what you know. It's a similar here. Like, he's gone into the Chelsea team. I know they're on bad form, but it wasn't like the Chelsea team were like massively failing or anything, or playing really badly. And that's not why he's changed it anyway. So, like, it didn't need massive changing. So then all of a sudden, when he's putting in his new ideas, if that doesn't work, then all of a sudden he's going to be under immediate pressure. And does he have the mentality and the personality to deal with that? That's obviously a big question mark. So I've got a feeling within a year he probably will be gone, to be honest. But he's Blue Coast guy. They've gone with this decision. It's a big move. And look, I'm excited to see how he does. And this opportunity, because he's a good young manager. So I think it's exciting for him, for sure. And it's be interesting to see how he does.
Yeah, it's just like the way Chelsea are going, with the managers that they're getting and the direction that they're going in. I mean, it's exciting because it's like all brand new, but it's also such a departure to what they're used to under Roman Abramovich, going for the best in class every time. Now they're going for like young, up and coming that don't really have the CV behind them. So if you're a Chelsea fan watching it, I think you must be thinking, oh, what the hell is going on here? Because Maresca didn't exactly have the best CV behind him. He won the championship with Leicester, but that's not best in class. And then you're going for someone that's got even less of a CV in Liam Rossina, and even younger. So if you're a Chelsea fan watching on, you just must be thinking, where the hell has my Chelsea gone?
And I think they had a better team last season, like a better squad. Like, how they managed to spend all that money, do all the transfer business they did, and end up with a worse squad. I think it's crazy to me. Like, they always constantly panicking, wanting to move, shift players, and they're leading themselves short and with lesser quality. Like, they had Madueke and Nicholas Jackson in their squad yesterday. I think they could definitely, last season, they could definitely do with them right now. Yeah. Now they're level on points with Fulham, which is crazy to think.
But I mean, the way the Nicholas Jackson transfer unravelled, as he was in Germany, and then they trying desperately to call him back. I mean, that's just a testament to how Chelsea are being run right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. But Fulham, are they in a shout for Europe? Only 4 points off. 4 points off fourth now. Fulham. Wow, what a run they're on.
Look, the reality is everyone probably up until 15th is in a shout within Europe this season so far.
Anyone who goes on a good run.
Yeah, exactly. So. It could be a very big surprise who finishes in Europe this season. I think when push comes to second half of the season, I think the cream will rise to the top, and I think you'll start to see gaps. I think you're already starting to see a little bit of gaps appear, but as the weeks progress, the gaps will get larger and larger and larger.
Last season the gap between 5th and 15th was 12 points. Now it's 6.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's like, it's mad how tight it is. It's never been this tight, ever.
Yeah. Let's go to the Vitality. Bournemouth 3, Tottenham 2. Sim went for 2-2. I went for 2-1, so I gained a point for this one. Sim was so close to getting the 5-pointer as well, with Semenyo scoring in his last touch for Bournemouth against Tottenham Hotspur. It was a weird game, this one, because I thought Spurs started well first 15 minutes and then pretty much vanished out the game up until the last 15 minutes, where I thought Spurs were very good. And once we got that equaliser, I felt like we had the momentum and we could push on for the winner. Had a few chances, Richarlison hit the post, Van de Ven had a header saved with a worldie of a save, and then Semenyo does what Semenyo did and scored an unbelievable goal, rifling into the far corner, and Bournemouth go on to win the game.
Yeah, and they won their first game in 11. Dr. Tottenham rearing its ugly head yet again. Of course, it's Tottenham who they break their duck against. Who else, to be honest? So, brilliant day for Bournemouth. I think both teams would argue they played quite well on the day. I would say probably a draw was a fair result, a score draw. Albeit, in isolation, Tottenham in parts in this game definitely played well and were on top and dominant. And then on other parts, Bournemouth were definitely looking more dangerous than us, and they were the ones looking more likely to score.
I think that's the story of Bournemouth's season, though, isn't it?
Yeah, true. They're a very chaotic team, and they definitely played on that chaos. I definitely think there was a time in this game when they were tiring, and Tottenham really took the ascendancy and took control, and that's when we equalised. And when we equalised, it wasn't a surprise. And then Van der Ven had a massive chance to pass 3-2 ahead. He doesn't score, and then they make a couple of subs, and I thought they got a second wind, and then they went on, obviously scored the winner. But I think for Tottenham, there are just so many stories at the moment with them. You've got Cupgate with Thomas Frank walking around Vitality drinking espresso from an Arsenal cup. You've got Van der Ven, Porro, Paulinho arguing with fans in the away end after the game. You've got Romero calling out the board in Instagram posts after the game. The whole thing just seems very fractured, very messy. You've got Paratici, our sporting director, looking to leave. Thomas Frank, there's big question marks about him. I kind of feel for him because the whole thing is a mess at the moment, and he has to kind of the figurehead to try and sort it out. But at the end of the day, he's just not doing it, and he's really struggling to get this team. And now, on top of that, he's got injuries galore. And how do you overcome this messy situation with this injury crisis we're now going with? And it's definitely a crisis now. So, big job on his hands, because there's already disgruntlement in the fan base. Fans aren't having him. And I don't know whether the board will follow suit at the moment. At the moment, it seems as though they're going to stick with him. But if this continues, you can't really sell a whole bunch of players. It's going to be him who's the fall guy. Yeah.
And you're hearing in the press today, many players wanting out from Tottenham Hotspur. There was a decision where Spurs get a penalty overturned by VAR. I thought it was the right decision, to be honest, from the referee.
I was a bit frustrated with it because I think the referee gave the decision because of the Van der Ven going into, I don't know who it was, Lewis Cook or something, or Hill. That bit of the play wasn't a foul. But there was a bit before which I did think was a foul. And that
was outside the box, wasn't it?
I think that was just inside.
Was it inside?
Yeah, David Brooks sliding behind Paulinho and catching him, I thought. And Paulinho actually doesn't, Van der Ven. And Van der Ven doesn't go down in that one, but he does go down when runs into Hill. I don't think him running into Hill is a foul, but I think it should be considered that he was only knocked off balance because David Brooks swipes him from behind. And because he stayed on his feet, they didn't consider that. That was my frustration. I also thought in the first half, Tell should have had a penalty. I thought that was overlooked. He actually got the wrong side of Hill, and he drags him down. I didn't understand why that wasn't looked at. That for me was a penalty. So I think Tottenham, in my opinion, have a bit of a right to feel aggrieved there.
But you saw Van der Ven getting very, very frustrated when the penalty wasn't given and gets booked for it. I mean, it's something I've noticed with Van der Ven a lot in the past month or so. Like, he just cuts a very frustrated figure at times, doesn't he? And you can understand it because he's the one that keeps up his standards week in, week out, and no one else really can be as consistent as him. And it will probably come to a point where he's just like, what, fuck this.
Well, we are a mess of a football club. He obviously knows that he could be, a lot of teams are going to be interested in him. So he's apparently declining to sign a deal at the moment, which is completely understandable. And Tottenham fans are right to look at that situation and think, how long is he going to put up with this for?
Yeah, I don't think much longer, to be honest. And you know what? There's rumours of him. There's obviously everything going on with Romero at the moment. And I think Van der Ven is probably the most important player that we need to keep at this football club. Next up, Everton 1, Wolves 1. Wolves keep picking up points. And yeah, Mateus Mane as well, getting another goal. Everton down to 9 men in this game. Jack Grealish and Michael Keane getting sent off. Michael Keane scored, I think he scored a few goals this season for Everton. So he opened the scoring and Mane equalised with about 20 minutes to go. I didn't see much of this game, but you've got to give a lot of credit to Wolves. They just keep plugging away, keep picking up these points. And not many teams above them are picking up points. Well, Burnley did this weekend, but West Ham lost, and Wolves clawing their way back a little bit.
Well, there's still 14 points I can see, is it?
From safety, yeah.
14 points, so, I mean, look, in current evidence, are they going to be breaking that duck of Derby? Looks like they've maybe come through that period and they are starting to get points now. So fair play. And actually, to be fair, they are playing quite well. Obviously, the draw at Old Trafford was quite good. Absolutely battered West Ham, and now a credible draw here, albeit they did play against 9 men, and they equalised against 10 men. So they got a good bit of a helping hand. But yeah, fair play to him. This Mane, man, he's 18. He's got a goal last game, goal and assist last game, a goal this game. He's really taking the Premier League by storm at the moment as a teenager. He looks like a real talent. It won't be long until a lot of teams start looking at him, I think, because when an 18-year-old kid is, especially for the bottom team, is playing like he is, he's such an exciting talent. The great goal he scored, I thought, the way he took it into his stride and confidently just finished it in the next touch, I thought was excellent. But in terms of decisions, did you see the red cards, like Michael Keane for pulling the hair?
So yeah, Michael Keane for pulling his hair, and Jack Grealish got one for
sarcastic clapping.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't like either of them, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Was that a VAR red? I don't know if that's a VAR red for. I don't
think
Keane.
I don't think either of them should get sent off, to be honest.
Like, I think probably a yellow is fair for Keane. Is that violent? They said it's violent conduct. He's going to miss 3 games now.
Yeah, first of all, that is ridiculous. And Jack Grealish, like, he gets booked like 5 minutes before, and he gets another booking for sarcastic clapping. Like, I think it's just the referee just trying to make himself the centre of the show, to be honest. I think it's a bit ridiculous, both of them.
Bit of a power trip.
Yeah, for sure.
Trying to insert his authority. And yeah, I think, look, to be fair, I don't think Grealish can have any defence because it's just a stupid thing to get sent off for, like you're asking for trouble. But as well, reportedly he was getting basically kicked from pillar to post, not getting the decisions. And then once he did get a free kick, he let out his frustration, saying, "Oh, well done, ref, give me a free kick." So I get it, but as well, look, you're asking for trouble when you do that. That's
I know,
truth.
but it's just ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. So what, can't have any personality in the game anymore. A bit of sarcastic clapping and you're getting booked for it.
Yeah, I think the referee should be able to put up with that. It's not a big deal. But Moyes said he didn't have any defence for Grealish, but he said Michael Keane one he wasn't happy with.
Yeah, well, is what it is. Grealish going to be suspended for the next game. Michael Keane suspended for the next 3 games, and 2 very vital players for them, especially with Njai out as well at the AFCON. So whoever Everton are playing next probably got a better ride of it, that's for sure. This was the game of the weekend next, or the midweek. Newcastle 4, Leeds 3. I mean, this Leeds team just never know when they're beaten, do they? Unbelievable the way the scoring worked. Obviously, Newcastle fought back, 2 goals in stoppage time right at the end to win the game. Both of us went for 2-1 to Newcastle, but I didn't expect this to be as exciting as it was. I expected an exciting game, but this was something special, wasn't it?
It was. First team, Leeds are the first team to take the lead 3 times in a game and lose since Leeds. Do you remember the game?
No.
It was against Spurs.
Oh, was it against Spurs?
Under Conte. We beat them 4-3 at home. Bentancur scored a late brace.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the last time a team has done that. And look, as much as Leeds will be frustrated and annoyed that they didn't end up with anything in this game, I think they've got to take heart. Going to St James's Park and playing as well as they did off the back of their current form, it'll give them, I think it will just reinforce that they are playing well at the moment, and then they are getting good performances out of this team. And I think that even though they lost, it'll give them, it should do anyway, give them renewed belief that they are on their way to safety if they keep playing this way.
Yeah.
And Brandon Aronson, by the way, what form he's in? He's playing.
Brendan Aronson, yeah.
Brendan Aronson. He's playing really well. He's had a real weird trajectory at Leeds. He came in initially and had a really good start. Then it kind of fell apart for him. He had to go on loan to Salzburg, I think, and went on. They didn't really fancy him, but he's come back in this season, and especially of late in their recent run, he's been really good. He's been really impressive.
Yeah, look, he scored 2 goals in this game. He scored 1 goal in the game before against Manchester United, and I've noticed him. I've mentioned him a couple of times on this show. I think all season, probably he hasn't been getting the plaudits that he deserves because, everything seems to go through him. He's got loads of assists this season. He's starting to add the goals to it now. And I think he's having a fantastic season. Even when Leeds weren't doing too well at the beginning, he was actually still plugging away and playing well and wasn't getting the plaudits maybe that he deserves. So he's having a top season now for Leeds. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin keeps his run going as well. Just
keeps getting the goals. But from Newcastle's point of view, it wasn't long ago where there was serious pressure on Eddie Howe. They were even below Spurs. They were 13th, 14th. 3 wins in a row later, 6th in the league, 3 points behind fourth and bang in that race for Europe. Just
not only that, in the Carabao Cup semi-final, in the FA Cup this weekend as well, in Europe as well.
It's all changed.
So, things are looking up for Newcastle, that's for sure.
There was pressure on Eddie Howe not long ago. And all of a sudden, it's like he's having a good season. 3 games later. It's crazy. But yeah, great win. Harvey
That's
Barnes.
just the nature of the Premier League, though, this year, isn't it?
Couple of goals from Barnes as well. Brilliant from him. Voltmader was back in the team. Really nice assist. And yeah, they just had that belief in this game. And it's a weird one. And recently, Newcastle have been conceding a lot of late goals. It was their turn to score a late one in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. As we move on to Crystal Palace 0, Aston Villa 0. We went for blockbuster goals in this game. You went for 3-2 to Villa. I went for 2-1, but no one could find the back of the net. There were chances at both ends, and quite a few chances at both ends, but no one could put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, Brennan, I thought looked quite. I mean, from the highlights, he looked quite good. He had a few chances, and he was strong goal, and he had nearly set up Mateta a couple of times. So he looked like he was unlucky not to get a goal contribution. Villa as well. Watkins had a couple of one-on-ones, and he had some really presentable chances. But both teams just couldn't find the key in this one. So 0-0. I don't think it's a terrible result for either team. I think it's probably a better result for Palace in current state than Villa.
Definitely a better result for Palace, yeah.
But yeah, I think draw was probably a fair result, and I don't think either team will be that distraught with a draw. Albeit Villa, obviously, if they've got title aspirations, it's a damaging result. But I don't think they're realistically looking at that. I think they're just trying to consolidate their place in the top four. And I think a draw away from home is probably fine for that.
Yeah, I just think like the way things have been going for Crystal Palace this season, 2 games a week, and we know whenever they had 2 games a week, they've really failed to kind of manage that situation. And with the players that they have out as well, I think Villa will be a bit disappointed of coming away with just a draw, especially with what they've been doing over the past number of weeks.
Yeah, Guehi though, Glasner confirming if Man City put a big bid in, he could be well off to Man City in this January. Do you reckon that's where he goes? Arsenal apparently now reporting interest. Obviously
Why?
Liverpool. Yeah, apparently Ornstein said maybe. I reckon it's a press ploy to try and get someone to bid the money. I think.
Why would Arsenal want Mark Guehi?
Why wouldn't they? They don't stop signing.
How many defenders do they need? It's
stop.
Madness.
It's crazy. Yeah, I think it's nuts. But apparently the Ornstein's reported it, so you got to take it seriously.
I think he goes to Man City or Liverpool, one of the two. And I think he does move before the end of this window, because the Palace hierarchy knows if he doesn't go by the end of this window, he's going for free.
And I think Liverpool seem hesitant to put them all. To be fair, they put them up in the summer, but I think right now with the state that Man City's defence is in, I think they are desperate. So I can really see them just pushing about a little bit and just paying the money that's needed to get him in. Yeah.
Brentford 3, Sunderland 0. Sim went for 1-0. I went for 1-1, which takes it back to a 1 point in it. It's unbelievable. The set-piece coach, Keith Andrews, the train keeps rolling. I think he's hijacked Thomas Frank's train. I don't know what's going on here, but...
Frank was holding them back, apparently.
Yeah, it's clear they're 5th in the league, not slowing down. Igor Thiago is like prime Haaland now. Like, he's scored 5 goals in his last 2 games. It's just unbelievable what is going on at Brentford right now. And look, don't get me wrong, they gave up chances. Sunderland could have had their own goals in this game, but Brentford were sublime and clinical, and look, they could have even scored more than 3.
Yeah, Igor Thiago, man, he's just a man on fire. He cannot stop scoring. He's in blinding form, and he just carried this on in this game with a. And you know what? Just watching the chances he missed, he could have easily had a hat trick. He was disappointed with that. But I think the game did hinge on one moment, and that was at 1-0. The game was tight. Sunderland get a penalty, and who took it? Was it Lefay?
Yeah.
He decides to Panenka. What is he doing? The game's at 1-0. I understand you're 3-0 up and you've got a penalty and you Panenka it at that point. But when it's 1-0, crucial point in the game, why risk looking embarrassed? And credit to Kelleher, he just read it. He just stayed there and caught it. I've never seen a Panenka get caught like. Well, I've seen it. It's rare to see it like that. Just Kelleher just reads it, and he has a look at Lefay when he saves it, like, what the hell were you trying there? Don't you think I didn't read that? And that hinged it. I think a few minutes later they went and scored the second, and all of a sudden it was game over. I think for Sunderland, we're winless in 5 now, 4 draws and a loss. But look, it's a damaging defeat. I do think if you look at the underlying numbers, like maybe they'll start to catch up with them. I think right now as well, they've got all those players away in the AFCON. It's really starting to hurt them.
I think that's the main thing here. The players they've got 6 or 7 players out of the AFCON, and the chairman said they were going to reflect their league position in terms of their transfer business and everything like that. It hasn't seemed to happen just yet, but still early days, I guess. 9th of January. But yeah, Sunderland better just got to be praying about the end of the AFCON. That's what they need, their players back. Next up is Man City 1, Brighton 1. Sim went 3-1, I went 3-2. Man City 3 draws in a row when it looked like they were mounting a serious title challenge. Look, they're still there, 6 points behind, but yeah, it's got to be worrying signs if you're a Man City fan. They need to start picking up the wins again. 3 games without a win. This game, Haaland scores from the spot, and Mitoma equalises with half an hour to go. And Man City just couldn't muster up enough chance to put the ball in the back of the net.
I think they had more than enough chances.
Enough chances, yeah, but they just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. It was crazy,
the chances they were missing. I was watching it, and they were just like missing sitter after sitter after sitter, albeit it's not like Brighton didn't have their chances. They definitely did. And they also were just as, not I would say just as much, but they were also a threat going the other way. And, Mitoma missed a really big chance. I think Gomez, he squared it to Gomez, who just mishit what was an open goal. And that was obviously a massive chance, which Brighton could have taken the lead. But Brighton were just gifting City the ball in their own penalty box. They must have done it 2 or 3 times. And City just didn't take advantage. Pep must have been so frustrated watching that. So they had the chances to win this game, Man City. They didn't, and ultimately it led them. Actually, this week it didn't lead them falling further behind, but they could have taken full advantage of Arsenal not picking up a win, which we'll get into in a bit. But yeah, I mean, 3 draws in a row after such great form, that's got to be so concerning for Man City. He said in his press conference, look, if you're not winning games, you can't talk about the title. But he also said, I just saw, he was relieved seeing the Arsenal result, and at the end of the day, 6 points in it. With just over half the season to go, still a lot to play for. And at the end of the day, they still have to go to the Etihad. So if Arsenal just lose 1 game and Man City win, all of a sudden it's in City's hands again, because I think City have a better goal difference.
There's lots of ups and downs still to go.
So 6 points are still definitely all to play for, considering Arsenal lost with 8 points ahead when they were 6 games to go or something, wasn't it? So from that experience, it's not over till it's over. But yeah, when you're in this bit of the season and you're drawing 3 games around like they have, that's got to be very frustrating. But Semenyo now through the door, maybe that'll help a bit with their struggles.
It will, but I think they need defenders in. You're looking at the back line that played this game. It's like nowhere near a title challenging back line, let's be honest. They have Kuzanov and a kid from the academy at centre back.
Yeah, they're actually recording from alone at Watford.
Which is crazy. Right? He's playing at Watford, and suddenly 48 hours later he's in a title challenge.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Madness. So they need defenders through the door massively. Like, we know they can score goals. Obviously they didn't in this game, but they had the chances to do so. But it's all about that defence. They need a solid base to work off, and the longer the longer it goes on, they're going to fall. They keep falling further behind, in my opinion.
Yeah, so they need to just pay the money for Guehi, get him in, and I think that can stabilise their backline.
But let's move on to Burnley 2, Manchester United 2. Sim went for 1-1, decent point there. I went for 2-1 to Manchester United. And yeah, really poor result for Man U here. Benjamin Sesko, though, getting 2 goals. But yeah, couldn't go to Burnley and take advantage of playing against a team in the relegation battle.
Albeit I thought they should have won this game. Like, they had lots of chances. I thought they were the better team. I actually thought they looked quite exciting, to be fair. But unfortunately, they got pegged back first of all in the opening exchanges with an Aiden Heaven own goal, and they did well to get back in the lead with a couple of nice goals from Sesko. And I thought they had so many chances in this game. They'll be frustrated they didn't put this game to bed, and a brilliant goal from Jadon Anthony with the equaliser, and they just couldn't get the winner, Man United. I think if you watch the game, if you're a United fan, obviously you're going to be very frustrated with the result, but I think at least you can take heart on the fact that they had lots of shots, lots of chances, and they probably on another day should have won this game. So at least there's something to cling on to. But yeah, 2-2 away at Burnley's nothing to celebrate, of course, but terrible result, leaves them not in a terrible position, still 3 points off top 4 in 7th place. But Burnley got a point. That's now 3 draws in their last 5, but no wins. So slowly creeping up on West Ham, 1 point behind, but still They need wins at this point. They just need to start getting some wins.
It looks a lot better with a back four and Bruno Fernandes in the 10 and really pulling the strings well. By the way, brilliant for them to get Bruno Fernandes back. So,
any coincidence he's fit again straight as soon as Amorim gets sacked?
I don't know about that, but was Kobbie Mainoo in the squad?
Not sure.
Yeah, he came on. That's the one I'm not surprised about. But look, 2-2 for Man United, poor result, but maybe some light at the end of the tunnel for them in terms of moving forward. But
Ollie coming in, good decision.
Is that for sure?
Well, not for sure, but apparently it's between him and Carrick, and they're leaning towards Ollie.
Ollie at the wheel.
I've never seen this. This is an interim of the interim we've got now at the moment for Darren Fletcher.
An interim of the interim.
We've got an interim of the interim. But yeah, Ollie back. Is that a good move? Do you think?
I mean, it depends what
Ollie at the wheel.
It depends
Just
what
for the
they.
Song.
It depends. It depends who comes in after that. I mean, for them to say an interim is coming in, is that them just saying, all right, the season's just written off now, and we're looking ahead to next season?
Well, it seems as though they definitely are bringing in an interim.
Yeah.
They're not bringing. No, I think. Well, that's not what they're saying, but is it what they're saying with their actions potentially? But that doesn't make sense to me. Why would you write off the season when it's still so tight, and you've got so much to play for? So, I think Ollie has experience in the job. I know he ended badly for him, but he had a couple of decent seasons there. So maybe for 6 months, is it the worst thing in the world?
It's not the worst thing in the world.
But is Ollie better to stick? Is it better to have Ollie than Amorim right now?
Well, look, I think Amorim didn't do a great job at Manchester United, but he was starting to finally get a tune out of them. But Amorim didn't go because of where they were in the league and footballing decisions. Amorim went because he went against the board. So I think it probably would have been better from a footballing standpoint to stick with Amorim at least till the end of the season, but that's not why he went.
Do you go for Carrick or Ollie if you're in charge?
I go for Ollie.
Yeah, I think so. Me too.
All right, finally, Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0. It finished, well, Sim went for 3-1, I went for 2-0, both in Arsenal's favour. I think the only thing that happened in this game was Martinelli kicking Conor Bradley when he was down. Everything, it was the most boring game of football probably anyone's going to watch all season. Arsenal lacked the ambition. Liverpool didn't have a shot on goal for the whole game. So, I mean, yeah, look, I think Arsenal fans should be really disappointed with the way that Arsenal played in this game, because this was a real big opportunity to put massive daylight between Arsenal and the chasing pack. They didn't do it. They lacked the ambition. It goes back to what I say every time about Arsenal. You know, whenever they have a real opportunity to pull really, you know, they're clear right now with 6 points, but they could have gone even clearer, right, against a Liverpool
big
side.
Point. There is a big difference between 6 and 8.
Yeah, of course. So, you know, Arsenal had a real opportunity in this game and they just lacked the ambition. And I don't know what Arsenal are playing at, to be honest. But I guess the only talking point of the game is that kick out from Martinelli to Conor Bradley. Conor Bradley's got a serious injury on the floor. He's rolling around. Obviously, he's half off the pitch, half on the pitch. He rolls back on the pitch, and Martinelli's kicking him off the pitch. It's quite unbelievable.
It's disgraceful and such a horrible thing to see when there's a young player struggling with what could be a horrible, horrible injury, and you've got Martinelli just thinking he's diving and throwing the ball on him. And
can you understand though where Martinelli is coming from though? Because like they have been wasting time a lot in the game, Liverpool, and he could just see it as another excuse of that.
I think it was quite clear he had a serious injury. I thought you could see that, from my opinion. But look, I'm not saying he obviously he didn't realise. I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but you've got to be very careful in these situations. Like, you can't just assume everyone's diving and start moving them. I mean, he could have done some damage in another situation if it was different. Scenario was different.
No, I agree.
Like, I understand his frustration, but I thought the way he acted was petulant and quite disgraceful.
Do you think there should be respective action on him?
No. I don't think that's a bit too much. But I still think he should be called out for it, for sure. In terms of Arsenal, I agree with you. Is it another example of them when the going gets tough, when you know they start being able to get too high, they start getting bloody noses when they're starting to touch the sky, kind of thing. I feel like the first half they kind of came out flying out the traps and looking to take the game to Liverpool, and I thought Saka was looking confident, and they did look like they were taking the game to them, albeit Liverpool probably had the best moment of the first half with that Bradley chance that hit the bar. That was probably obviously the closest anyone came. But that second half, that's got to be a bit of alarm bells for Arsenal and Arteta, because they just kind of got scared, it seemed. And this was a depleted Liverpool. No
How
Saka,
comfortable did Liverpool look in that second half?
Yeah, very. No Isaac, no Ekitike, no Salah. You're not going to get a better opportunity to beat Liverpool right now. I know they're unbeaten, but they're not going to get a better opportunity. And I felt like Arsenal just kind of took their foot off the gas. They just kind of thought, oh, Liverpool make a mistake at some point. If we just keep it tight, make sure we don't concede, we will get a chance. And they just allowed Liverpool that domination. They allowed Liverpool to keep the ball. They weren't really interested in getting the ball off them, or because they kind of felt like, I think Arsenal felt like Liverpool's attack are depleted. If we give them the ball, they're not going to be able to score against us, but they will make a mistake at the back. So we'll just pounce on them. We'll get a mistake, whether it be a set piece or a mistake, and they won't be able to. If we get the lead, they won't be able to score, and we'll win the game. But it never really turned out like that. Liverpool just kept the ball really well. I thought they were the ones making the running. I know they actually didn't have a shot on target throughout the whole game, but I thought they were the ones who looked like they were going to score, if anything. Should Wirtz have had a penalty? And should Frimpong have had a penalty as well? Couple of moments, I think definitely there were some credible, valid cases there. I don't think it should be dismissed. I thought the Frimpong one, Hincapié kicks his foot and puts him off balance. I think that should have been penalty. And I think the Wirtz one, Trossard definitely moves across him without any intention of getting the ball. And again, if that's given a penalty, I don't think that gets overturned. So I think Arsenal got a bit fortunate in a couple of occasions not to give away a penalty, in my opinion. But I also never felt like they were going to score Liverpool, as much as they were looking like more likely.
I didn't feel like anyone was going to score. So, I think that game could have gone on for 2 more days and no one would have scored.
Yeah. And then obviously Gabriel has that last chance right at the end, which maybe he'll be disappointed with. But Arsenal, with a massive chance, as you say, just didn't quite take that chance, and might rue that at the end of the season, because I think if they go 8 points clear with the form City are in, all of a sudden they look inevitable. But they've just left that door open again with this draw, I feel.
Yeah, look, they've still got a significant gap at the top of 6 points, and with City's problems, I can see it being widening over the next couple of weeks. That's the problem.
It is significant, but as on the other side, Arsenal lose one game, and with them to go to the Etihad, all of a sudden it's not in their hands anymore, in theory. So
it is and it isn't kind of thing.
Well, you lose at the Etihad, and then all of a sudden City are top of the league.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, one loss, and the game is right in the balance again. So 6 points is actually not that significant, whereas 8 points is significant, because even if they lose one game, it's still well in their hands.
Yeah.
But 6 points.
The thing is, just Arsenal right now just look more of that sure bet than Man City right now, because you're looking at Man City's problems. Arsenal just don't have those issues. Like, even if Gabriel or Saliba was to get injured, they've got players that can come in. Man City are playing a kid at centre back alongside Kuzanov, who's also essentially a kid as well. So Man City got a lot of problems. That's the issue.
They do, especially. Yeah, it's true.
All right, so star men. Sim went for Johan Wissa. I told him Eddie Howe roulette, didn't want to listen, and Wissa came on.
You told me after I picked him. So.
I'm not going to tell you before, am I?
If I did listen, I couldn't change it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. But Wissa came on, no goals, no assists. Watkins should have had a goal at least in this game, but unfortunately nothing. So we end off this week, quite unbelievably, level pegging, 201 each. So we'll take a bit of a break because it's FA Cup weekend, but we'll be back next week for our next round of Predict the Prem. But level pegging, Sim.
Neck and neck, I've clawed it back. Just as I had a big gap, you had a big gap to me. I clawed it back. Then you got the big gap again, and I've clawed it back again very quickly. So
exactly. Kevin Sharder hat-trick, and I'm level pegging.
Exactly. Come on.
Unbelievable. All right, we'll see you next time, people. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a good weekend, people.